This is a companion video to my ebook, 7 Things You Need to Know About Commercial Leases. This is a guide for commercial landlords, commercial tenants, or anyone who expects to be a commercial landlord and or a commercial tenant. Number 1, the lease start and end date. When does the tenant start to take possession of the property? When does the tenant start paying rent on the property? And when does the tenant surrender possession of the property? And when does the tenant stop paying rent on the property? Number 2, rent. What is the base rent? And is there additional rent? If there's an additional rent, how much is the additional rent and how is it calculated? Plus, what are the rent increases? When does the rent get increased and how are the rent increases calculated? Number 3, the security deposit. How much is the security deposit? When is the security deposit due? And how is the security deposit refunded? And how long does the security deposit have to remain with the landlord? Number 4, personal guarantee. Most commercial leases are done in the name of LLCs or corporations. So most landlords want an individual behind that LLC or the corporation to personally guarantee that the rent will be paid. In other words, if the LLC or the corporation fails to pay the rent, then what individual will have to pay the rent instead of the corporation or the LLC? And how long will that individual guarantor be on the hook, so to speak, to pay the rent if the LLC or the corporation does not pay the rent? What, if any, are the renewal terms? In other words, if there's an option to renew the lease, how is that option exercised? How does the landlord get notified? How long is that option? Number 6, improvements to the space. If you're going to improve the space before the tenant moves in, who pays for those improvements and how are those improvements paid? Number 7, what happens in case of a breach? For example, if the tenant fails to pay the rent, what can the landlord do? If, on the other hand, the landlord fails to maintain the space, what can the tenant do? And that's about it. 7 things you need to know about commercial leases. Please contact me with any questions, download my ebook, and thank you for watching.